Finding more information.
A world-renowned chef is in Salt Lake City this weekend, but he's not cooking up a meal to serve. Instead, he drove across the country from New York to help set up a gingerbread lane. It's a 500 square feet exhibit, especially made gingerbread houses, and this is the first time it's been in Salt Lake. It's been all over the country west of the Mississippi, but the owner says when it came time to try it out in the west here, he likes Salt Lake because of how different it is.
In honor of Veterans Day, West Point Glee.
Everything we know so far. Sadly, a 21-year-old woman is dead tonight after a climbing accident in Moab. Grand County Sheriff's Office saying Emmeline Thayer Herbstrip was climbing Morning Glory Arch on Saturday when something happened. She was unresponsive when they arrived. Herbstrip was from Salt Lake City and worked as a canyoneering guide. Tonight at 10, we'll share more about her legacy and the impact it has had on one community in particular. Take a look at this damage to a church.
A dozen or more shots.
Tragedy in Moab after a climbing guide is found dead at a popular rappelling spot. Hear from friends of the woman who made a big impact right here in Salt Lake.
It's a pretty big loss.
A place of worship. Fire exchange with cars lately. Thanks for that report.
Our other top story tonight, a Utah hockey community is mourning the loss of a former player and mentor who died in a climbing accident there in Grand County.
Emmeline Herbstrip was a canyoneering guide. Now, before heading out on that breaking news, Lauren Steinbrecher spoke to people who knew Emmeline and has more on the impact she had on high school hockey well after she graduated and up until her death.
In Utah's high school hockey world, the name Emmeline Herbstrip will immediately ring a bell.
Has her fingers in helping with everything, her and her family, Misty and Brian, her parents. They're just fantastic.
A full family affair for over a decade. Emmeline, her parents, brother and sister have been involved in many organizations and teams. Hockey parents like Carrie Fain watched Emmeline grow up, playing on the coveted Lady Grizz team and on varsity at East High, where she won a league MVP award. She also played in college, winning a championship.
She was even able to go out there and keep up with the boys and give them a little bit of their own medicine. She was not afraid of the contact or the play.
And not afraid of adventure, recently becoming a canyoneering guide in Moab.
She was always outside doing something if she wasn't on the ice.
But a trip to Morning Glory Arch Saturday ended with a terrible accident and the 21-year-old's death, leaving Emmeline and her family's hockey community in disbelief, many posting on social media about the huge loss.
Shock first, because honestly, that's the last of my kids that I'd ever think to hear had passed, and in such an extreme way. I mean, she loved life, so she was out living and loving life.
As Carrie thinks back to the impact Emmeline had, she thinks of the positive, sweet player who went on to become a mentor, helping younger girls find their voice, a shining light for others on and off the ice.
Any way she could help, helping with youth camps, things like that, kids, the younger Lady Grizz, she'd come out and skate with them, things like that. It made a huge difference, and there's definitely a void without her.
Lauren Steinbrecher, KSL-5 News.
At this point, it's not clear how the climbing accident happened. Emmeline's death is still being investigated by Grand County officials.
A completely edible winter wonderland is unfolding at one Utah museum where Gingerbread Lane is taking shape for the first time.
Election ads are over.
50% threshold.
Candy is scattered across the floor at the Leonardo Museum in Salt Lake City. It's the start of a Christmas scene made entirely out of candy, icing, and gingerbread coming to life. Artist John Lovich is bringing Gingerbread Lane to life for the first time in Salt Lake City. The exhibit is 500 square feet of specially made gingerbread houses. It's entirely edible. Lovich works all year on his gingerbread scenes and says he wanted to bring this sweet tradition to Utah because of our family-friendly environment and our love for sweets.
You guys are legendary out here in Salt Lake, obviously, and Utah in general, the heritage with honeys and the beehives and things like that. And we actually have worked a couple nods to that end of the village. There's actually going to be a beehive bakery to kind of pay homage to the Utah and their love of sweets.
On top of being able to walk through Gingerbread Lane, Lovich will also teach people how to make their own gingerbread houses. Those dates will be in December. You can sign up on the Leonardo's website. He also says people can take a piece of Gingerbread Lane home with them when they break the exhibit down in January. Lovich says with some shellac, You can keep the pieces forever. Fun fact, he has a 46-year-old gingerbread house in New York City.
Looks good there.
That's
I
I have a
just
hard
kind
time
of
with
want to
those.
pick things off.
That's what I was saying. I have a hard time with them. I just want to eat them. It's like torture.
All right, Kristen, some beautiful sky.